Well, good afternoon, and we're here for another, of course, series, and we're going to talk self and self-talk. Me, Silvia Gina Hunt, your host. Today, I have distinguished Leigh Williams here, and we're going to concentrate and focus on Mother's Day and Mother's Day weekend. And you know, mothers, they do so much for us just year-round, and they make humanity being in room, you know, and that kind of joy. So, first, I'm going to introduce my guest, Miss Leigh Williams. Hi, how are you today, Miss Leigh Williams?
I am doing fine, and yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, too. And when you think about Mother's Day and this weekend being a Mother's Day weekend, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Let's hear the story. We're all interested in hearing that.
Well, I can tell you about my mother. My grandmother passed before I was born, so I never knew her.
Okay.
My mother was the matriarch of the family.
Okay.
She passed at the age of 102. We thought she was 97.
Okay.
You know, but that age was given to us from the statistics because the Bible, which they recorded all of the births and deaths in, was destroyed in a fire. So she comes from a Southern family. We come from Florence and Darlington, South Carolina.
Okay.
And then she moved to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Where she met my father, and then they moved to New York.
Okay.
And they were married in 1930.
Wow. Okay.
So 3 children.
Okay.
4. And lived in Harlem, raised in Harlem all our lives, you know.
Okay.
And as with most Southern families that come to New York, okay, is that all of them live with us. One by one, as they came, to New York, they lived with us till they got their jobs, and then they got their own apartments and moved or got married. So it was a very close-knit family, you know. Still is. So when I think of Mother's Day, I think about her. I think about my sister Helen, your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And the people that we've lost over the years that were mothers.
Okay.
You know, they are all in my thoughts and prayers, and that's what I see on Mother's Day and how I feel.
Tell me about some of her hobbies. Was it cooking? Was it?
Oh, she loved to cook. I mean, she made these biscuits, and every time she made the biscuits, it's like the people in the neighborhood must have, the smell must go out because everybody was running to our apartment. You know, oh, Mr. Mary cooks her biscuits. You know, we got great with collard greens. She was a very good cook, you know, and one of the things that her passion was playing checkers with my Aunt Julia.
Okay.
They'd start like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and play till it was dark.
Okay.
So she played regular checkers and she played Chinese checkers, and she liked playing bid whist as cards. She taught me how to play bid whist. I mean the old bid whist where the last card is trump, not this new one. So,
okay. All right.
So those were her hobbies that she liked to do.
Okay. And was she fashionable too? Did she?
Well, I wouldn't say fashionable. She kept up with fashion, but basically she wanted her children to be fashionable. You know, she could sew, and she'd sew skirts or things of that nature. But no, she wasn't a fashion place. She just wore regular clothes. Usually she was in a house coat.
Oh, okay.
You know, while she was in the house.
Well, because she was cooking and a hobby, sewing and cooking, so that sounds like
she went out, she was dressed very neatly.
Religious?
Oh, yeah, very much so. She was raised Baptist, but when she came to New York, she converted to Catholicism. And she took it very, very seriously, went to church every Sunday and during the week. She made her kids go to church on Sunday, and if they didn't go to church, they didn't do anything. You know, you couldn't go to the movie, you couldn't go outside. So you had to go to church. She read her Bible every single day.
And well-versed with the Bible?
Well-versed. For her 80th birthday, the family gave her a birthday party at this restaurant, Cookies. It's no longer operational, but and they would have like the big shrimp, and they were famous for their vegetable bar and stuff. And they had a room, a catering room, so we hired the catering room and gave her a birthday party. And also what they did, they bought her tickets to go to Jerusalem and to Rome, to the Vatican, because she always wanted to go to the Holy Lands.
Okay.
And so
and how was that? Did you go with her?
Oh, yeah. I went with her. She loved it. I mean, me, I was tired of going down in them hole in the ground, but, you know, I said, if we go another hole in the ground, I'm not going. But, yeah, and when we got to
walking, she must have been in excellent shape. Excellent condition. And
they had the bus that would take us on a tour to different places. So we got on the bus, and the tour guide started talking about the Bible. And she made a mistake. And so my mother raised her and said, that's not right.
Yep, that sounds like it.
It was so-and-so and so, and she said, oh, yes, Mr. Mary, you are exactly right. Yeah. And I said, well, you know, my mother just turned 80. You got the oxygen. What? Because she never looked her age.
No, absolutely.
So everybody said, what? Oh, my goodness. So we go back to the hotel, go in the room. She had her own room with my nephew, James, and I was in another room. And walked in, there was these flowers and this big basket of fruit. So I'm looking in my room. I said, well, I didn't get anything. What's this? And they said, well, this is for your mother, you know, and her birthday and being octogenarian, because we honor the age, to age it here.
Okay.
So I had to tell her, well, just don't eat the rind, you know, you got to peel it, you know, before you eat it. So the only place they wouldn't allow her to go is the temple where the suicide took place.
Oh, I see.
You know, because it was 120 steps.
Okay.
To get into the temple, and so they said no, they didn't want her to go because of her age and the lack of oxygen as you're climbing up the steps and stuff.
Okay.
But that was the only place that she couldn't go in Jerusalem. And then when we got to Rome and went to the Vatican, that was a lot of walking. You know, so the tour was almost 4 hours, maybe 5. But she loved it.
And that sun, was it warm?
Yeah, it was warm, but it wasn't dry hot. You know, you could feel the sun, but it wasn't to the degree that it would cause you any ill effect or anything.
Okay. And plus, you guys drink plenty of water. She drank.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of water.
Bottled water, yeah.
Bottled water.
So then there was a little what they call pizzeria, but it's different in Rome. It's not a pizza. It's a small, like, restaurant cafe with seats outside.
Okay.
And she loved to go there because they put all of this bread on the table, and she loved Italian bread. And as soon as they saw her coming, they said, yes, yes, sit. Got all the bread. And she could eat what she wanted, and, you know. And she really loved it. And then we went to their garden, where they have this huge flower bed. It's almost like a maze, you know. She enjoyed that trip so much, and she was so thankful. She said, I went to the Holy Lands, and I got to see it before I passed. And she was way past, because she was 80. She lived to 102, so she had 22 years more to go.
Which was great.
Yeah. So
that religious.
And we took pictures, and we went into this museum, and it had a lot of mosaic tiles, you know, and everything, and they kept it the way it was because part of it was bombed during World War II and stuff. And there was a fresco on the wall, and she looked at it and she says, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I said, yeah, that's what, now you know what they mean about you're worth your weight in gold. Because he had the scale, right? And this new guy standing by the scale with his parts on the scale.
Okay.
But, you know, she laughed, you know. But it was a trip I will always remember when I think about her and think about going. Yeah, it was great.
And how was her trip to going back to South Carolina to what, brothers?
Well, she only went back to South Carolina when someone died. She had 5 brothers and 2 sisters, and she would only go back when there was a death. She said she would never go back to live. My Uncle Tony had a lot of land, a lot of property, and anyone that came back, he would give them land so they could build their home on and all of that. And he'd call in, he said, he called her Shug. And say, Shug, because her name is Sophie. He said, Shug, if you come home, I'll build you a house and give you the land. You don't have to worry about anything. My mother said, no, not coming. That's it. So I don't think her early years in the South was really something that she liked to talk about or wanted. Well, it wasn't good for her.
Well, our history, we know what was going on down there, so maybe it was a lot of racial.
Oh, definitely it was that. I mean, it was that in the 70s and 80s. I mean, it still goes on, so you know. But in those days, it was really terrible for her, and she didn't want to go back to live.
Okay, so now this is the hobbies, and then her spirit, and just overall, she was always warm. She was always.
Oh yeah.
People just running around. People all over.
She lived to 102 now. She was born with congenital heart disease, and during her early years, she had problems with it. She couldn't work. But later on, as we got older and she saw our independence, she just calmed down because she had no stress. And if you don't have stress, whatever ills that you have seem to dissipate, because stress causes heart attacks. It can cause a lot of things. And she was very calm, so she lived to be 102, so her heart healed.
Yeah, absolutely. In good shape, she could run.
Yeah, walked every day, kept children up to the age of 95.
Yeah.
Okay, she kept everyone in the family had children. She kept them. She was the babysitter, starting with me, because Mark was born in Germany. So when I came home, and had to go to work, she would keep him, pick him up, take him to school, bring him home from school, feed him. They'd go for walks, take him to the movie in the park. Yeah, she did that with
everybody.
Everybody.
And even neighbors and even everybody. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She loved children.
And dogs, too. She loved those dogs, too.
Yeah. Well, that was out when my sister bought a home in Uniondale, and she moved out there with them. That's when she really started her thing with dogs, big dogs, because I always had a dog because it was my dog, Mickey. He was a mutt, but he was good, But when she moved to the island, her son-in-law loved German Shepherds, so they always had big dogs. Except one time they got this dog, I don't know where they got it. The dog would, if like, go in the bathroom with you, with Eddie. One time in the bathroom with Eddie. And Eddie was on the commode. And the dog jumped up. And Eddie's face. Hit him on the nose, the dog would yell. He didn't come back in the bathroom, and I told him, I said, I'm going to the bathroom upstairs. Don't even let that
hilarious moments.
Listen.
I see.
Then he found out that the dog had been experimented on or something. I don't know. That'll tell you a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, we always would go out to Long Island for different occasions, whatever holidays, 4th of July,
especially
birthday,
Mother's Days.
Mother's Day, we'd be out there.
With flowers.
Well, we buy, and it's still there, the roses, you know, that you can plant in the garden.
Yes.
To come a tree, and a bush rather, and still there today. It comes up each and every year, you know.
Yes.
Because she loved flowers.
Yes.
Loved them.
And she always wanted to smell the flowers while she was alive.
Yeah, that's what she would say. Give them to me while I can smell them. That's right.
Well, she loved all of these things. What was her favorite music? What was?
Gospel music.
Gospel music. That's all she ever played too, really.
No. She liked Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and Nat King Cole, and yeah, she liked that music too. But if she was going to sit and listen to some music, she listened to Mahalia Jackson.
I see. So gospel.
And she had no problem with the others, because, I mean, we kids, we're listening to Sarah and all of them, you know. Come from a jazz family. We all loved jazz. So, I mean, there was always music in the house, and we had a piano. Everybody took piano lessons, you know, because in Harlem in those days, every child had music in their family. They were either playing the guitar or sax or tap dancing, going to ballet, going to piano lessons, singing lessons. Yeah, we all did it, you know. And that's when arts were in the school. But, I mean, that was just a thing that black families did, you know. The music was embedded, you know, because, I mean, we live on Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill was known for their clubs and music and everything, so everybody would come uptown to Sugar. So it was ingrained, you know. You know that all kids are going to be playing an instrument, singing or dancing or doing something, because Kelly, the ballet, took ballet, and she was on TV and all of that, you know. So, I mean, yeah, musical background in Harlem. I mean, you go open any door in Harlem and you hear music playing. If you go outside, you'd hear music playing from a radio. You know, it's like when Joe Louis was fighting. It seems like the ring was right there, and everybody's radio, because it was radio then on TV, turned into the fight. You could hear it all. It was like one loud megaphone, you know. So.
And what was her favorite sport? Did she have many sports?
Oh, my God.
Did she love sports?
Did she love sports? Yes, she loved sports. All sports. Baseball, football. She didn't like hockey too much, but she'd watch it down there. Basketball. She'd know what high school they went to, when they were drafted. All of that. Followed all of that. I mean, we'd have boyfriends, my sister and I, come into the house, you know, and then we had TV, small little black TV, and
well, color TV's weren't out yet, right?
No, but not. And sit there watching the game, and she'd start talking, and then your date would sit down and start talking to her, so they understood this was a different mother. She knew sports. She knew the game, right? So they start talking about one player. She said, oh, no, that's not, this guy is not any good, blah, blah, blah. And I'm waiting for the date to go out, and he's still sitting there talking. Yeah, that's how she was. Yeah. Love sports.
Love sports.
I would say the only sport she didn't like was golf. She said, I don't see the sense in walking a mile to hit a ball in a hole.
But isn't that relaxing, the people say?
Yeah, people say it is. They said once you start it, you get hooked, you know.
But when she was little or younger, did she actually play a sport?
No.
Softball or baseball? No sport?
No, she didn't play any sports that I know of. She would talk with us, you know. But she just picked up the love of it. Yeah, she loved to dance. Yeah.
Dancing.
Yeah.
I
guess that's where we get it from, because, you know, we'd go to the sport ballroom. You know, and dance, because that's where they used to have the... what they call it, the Harlem is something that is done yearly, and they pick up. They go to the different clubs and they pick up the good dancers out of the clubs to become part of this national one thing. For different dances. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was picked once. I was 14. My mother wouldn't let me go. Said nope, not going.
Okay. So she was strict and stern too.
Oh yeah.
So she wasn't playing all the time. It wasn't no playing all the time.
With the girls.
All right.
My brother, who was the youngest, could do no wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Only boy. So he was spoiled.
Okay, I got you. So then at that time they had that different kind of that gender kind of thing too. So that, that boys could have a little bit more leeway and girls be coattail close to the house and watch that kind of thing.
Yeah, Charlie could go out and stay late. We didn't know what the sun, when the sun went down, we were in the house. We were never there when the sun went down. We were in the house.
Right.
So the only way that we got out, we took our dog Mickey for a walk. we tie him to the gate downstairs and go where we wanted to go. Then come back and get him. That's the only way we got out.
Well, why? How could she keep a track? The fire escape? How could she see? How would she know? Like when she get out the door? Like, she had eyes in the back of her head too?
And hearing.
Oh.
Go and head out. Didn't you see pictures sometimes of Harlem old days? And you usually see the women hanging out the window looking. That's what mothers did. They knew everything.
Oh, I see.
And Harlem then it's a family. I mean, everyone in your apartment building knew everyone.
Mr. Andre and
everybody. So that when you went to school 6-7 blocks away, and if you got in a fight or anything, before you got home, your mother knew. Because one of your neighbors, somebody was out there and saw you and reported it.
I see.
And during that time, hey, if you were doing something, a neighbor could, hit you on the leg or hand and say, I see you. That's not what you're supposed to do. Yeah. That's how it was. Harlem is a family.
Yeah. So
that's why, when they came out with the saying about you live in the ghetto, I said, what the heck are they talking about? What ghetto? I mean, lived in Harlem but didn't lock our doors. No one had locks on their doors. That came about when drugs came into Harlem. And
I see. And what year approximately was that? Do you know? Can you recite that?
It would have to be in the 70s, like mid-70s, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And
drugs, you mean in like, say, heroin? Something that's coming back now these days, you're saying?
Heroin. Yeah.
Okay.
And we lost a lot of good young men from heroin, And then, the nation at large was saying, oh, well, they druggies, they don't want nothing, they in it,
Stereotypes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that was not the case.
No, that wasn't the case. I mean, I knew a lot of kids I had gone to school with. They were bright young men or women heading, for college, never got there because of drug use. They either died or was institutionalized. So, no. And now, it just astounds me when I look at TV. I was just looking at a commercial this morning where this mother was on there from New Jersey talking about addiction is a disease like any other disease, and they have to look at it that way. I said, you see, when it was people of color, predominantly African Americans, who are being addicted, no one came out to say that this was a disease and don't treat them as criminals, Anybody that was African American that was on heroin was a criminal. They never said, oh, he's or she was a bright child going to college and just got hooked, tried it once, and then, you know, nothing like that. There was no support mechanism nationally.
I see.
For young black men and women who became heroin addicts.
I see.
Never talked about their backgrounds. Just, it's like, oh, they're garbage. You know?
Wow.
But
So
now it's different.
It's
you know,
different.
you see Governor Chris Christie in his program, Outreach, New Jersey Outreach, and that's where all of these commercials are coming from. You know, you have somewhere to go, reach out, call us, here's the number, and all of that.
Okay. So I see
Yeah.
how things have changed.
Yeah.
And that was so interesting, that this discussion on your moms, especially Miss Sophie DeMary, and that she was just wonderful. And that was a wonderful, you know, just experience that you gave us all and shared. But the most important thing that we got out of that was the deep love and the concern for everybody.
Yes.
Okay, so with that, we're going to wrap up, and we're going to tell you that we want each and every single mother out there, including you, Miss Elaine Williams, with your son Mark Williams, that also gave you grandchildren.
Yes.
Williams.
6
So-
grandchildren,
Yeah.
4 great-grandchildren. Yes.
All right, isn't that great? So with that, we're going to tell the audience goodbye, and we see you, and have the best Mother's Day possible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.